Hey everybody, welcome back, and thanks so much for taking the time to watch Hello Good Game. It's December 16th, your boy's birthday. We have new cards out and brand new reveal videos to get into as well. So Magic actually sent cards to metal bands to reveal, and they all shot a really cool video to show us. I've got the links for that in the description below. We're going to show you where you can find them, and we're also going to break down all of the spoilers that we've come across thus far. Starting up with Magda Brazen Outlaw. This is a 2-drop, power 2, toughness 1, legendary creature, Dwarf Berserker. Other dwarfs you control get +1/+0. Wolf. Whenever a dwarf you control becomes tapped, create a treasure token. Backwards Wolf. Sacrifice 5 treasures, search your library for an artifact or a dragon card, put that card into the battlefield, and then shuffle your library. Very, very interesting. We have Gadrick, that big 5/4 dragon that needs artifacts in play. That's a potential dragon to use for this. And of course, playing 7 dwarfs, Dwarf Tribal. We've seen MTG Jeff just have a baller deck go 10-0 using Dwarf Tribal. So, this makes that much worse, and I'm really looking forward to playing around with it. So, not only viable in Jank standard decks right now, but we're going to be seeing this probably in EDH as a commander as well, because, just look at the value that this thing puts out. Moving on, we do have the Valkyrie Harbinger for 6. This is an Angel Cleric, so filling a role within our party, which many of the cards today released do, which is quite nice to see. Flying Lifelink, it's a 4 power 5 toughness creature that at the beginning of each end step, if you gain 4 or more life this turn, create a 4/4 white angel creature token with flying and vigilance. It's expensive, don't get me wrong. It has a engine type ability that can trigger every end step as long as we're gaining life. Plus, it's a flyer with lifelink, and the lifelink that if it hits with can trigger its own ability. So, even though it's expensive, it certainly is interesting. It is an angel, so we're going to keep that in mind, because I think that we're going to be seeing not only angel tribal, but also giant tribal as well. So moving on to one of the said giants, we have Surtland Elementalist for 7. Very expensive, even more so than the Harbinger. An 8/8, so it's got a little bit more beef in the cakes. And as an additional cost to cast this spell, reveal a giant card from your hand or pay an additional 2. So it could cost you 9. Of course, you'll always want to be revealing that card. So that that additional cost is only to be paid if you're casting it. If we're, playing it with a form of recursion from the graveyard or reanimation, whichever you prefer, we won't be casting it, right? So that'll just be entering the battlefield. So we won't have to pay any, because, you wouldn't have to be paying for it anyway. So, it's nice that it's not when it enters the battlefield you have to do it. It's nice that it's when you cast it, so you can just kind of scoot around the whole cast effect and replay it from your grave or something like this. Whenever it attacks, you may cast an instant or sorcery spell from your hand without paying its mana cost. Ultimatums! Right? Stop it! That is too much. So, this opens up just so much shenanigans. It's not even funny. At least it's instant and sorcery. We're not having, enchantments in that as well. I could just see the Elementalist casting Kiora, best sea gods, right? So at least it's going to be turned back. We'll probably just deal with ultimatums, stuff like this. But to be able to free cast any instant or sorcery from your hand whenever it attacks it's something else, right? But again, this is a very expensive spell. It doesn't have haste, so, the chance that it's going to get removed immediately is very high. Which is why, if you can play it from your graveyard and then it goes back to your graveyard, no big deal. We're just going to play it from our graveyard again style of thing. That's my thinking on it anyways. Moving on, the Cleaving Reaper for 5. This is another Angel Berserker, a 5 power 3 toughness flying trample with the ability to pay 3 life, returning the Reaper from your graveyard to your hand, activating this ability only if you had an Angel or Berserker enter the battlefield under our control this turn. So most of the angels have lifelink, so the paying of 3 life shouldn't be too much of a downside. The recursion's great. We see a lot of graveyard hate right now, so maybe that's something that we'll see shift into the future. Obviously, rotation doesn't hit until September. We've got 7+ beautiful months of a growing standard pool still to enjoy. So that's going to be great. And it's a card. It's a little expensive for my taste. Most angels are, but again, we may see angel tribal, and a little birdie told me that we can reduce the cost of our angels. So let's not lose hope on them, even though they are so expensive. Moving on to another expensive card, the Surtland Flinger for 5, and this just smells busted. It's a 4 power, 6 toughness giant berserker, so filling the giant tribal for us. Whenever the Surtland Flinger attacks, you may sacrifice another creature. When you do, Surtland Flinger deals damage equal to the sacrificed creature's power to any target. Absolutely amazing. If the sacrificed creature was a giant, it deals twice that much damage instead. Woof. Imagine attacking with a 4/6 and then dealing, almost unlimited damage. Speaking of giants to fling, Beanstalk Giant is great. Fertile Footsteps will also help us along the way to get to our Flinger, which is really, really nice. So, there's going to be some shenanigans here with the Surtland Flinger. Woof. Canopy Tactician for 4, an Elf Warrior, so, filling the party mechanic again, like we pre-mentioned. Other elves you control get +1/+1. We can tap it to add 3 green to the pool. It's also a 3 power, 3 toughness creature, so, like elves needed more of a pick-me-up, you know what I mean? Not only is it an anthem, all of our elves are going to be stronger always, and it is also a mana ramp or a mana sink, whichever you prefer. Armed and armored for 2 at instant speed. Vehicles you control become artifact creatures until end of turn. You may choose a dwarf you control, attach any number of equipment you control to it. Most of our artifact vehicles exist in Historic right now in Kaldheim. Not Kaldheim, but we may see some be released. We've seen dwarfs, we have dwarfs in standard, and we have plenty of equipment as well. So instant speed, very, very good, because typically you have to crew your vehicles. Crew 2, Crew 3, Crew 4, they go up in cost as how good they are. If we could flash basically all of our vehicles in play at instant speed, that's good, right? So that for 2 alone, I think is very good. Never mind equipping all of our stuff to a dwarf we control. So, I think this is going to be a very good card in limited within your drafts and your seals, if you can build around it effectively. But we're going to have to see what the rest of the card pool brings before we can, continue around that assumption. Starnheim Aspirant for 3, a 2/2. Angel spells you cast cost 2 less to cast. Now we're talking, right? We've seen those heavy CMC angels. We can reduce the cost of them, makes them much more viable. This is a non-legendary, so we can stack this. 2 copies, reducing angels by 4. Right? That can probably do something. So, a human cleric filling a party role as well. Moving on, Warchanter Skald for 3, a 2 power, 3 toughness dwarf cleric, again with the party mechanic. Whenever Warchanter Skald becomes tapped, if it's enchanted or equipped, create a 2/1 red dwarf berserker creature token. This could be the dwarf we're looking for within the armed and armored. We're gonna have to see though. It definitely looks like it could fill that spot. Anyways, more angels within Youthful Valkyrie for 2, a 1/3. So you could reduce this to 1. And if you're playing a 1 power 3 toughness creature with flying for 1, you're winning every time. Whenever another angel enters the battlefield under your control, put a +1/+1 counter on Youthful Valkyrie. If we can be making angel tokens, now we're talking, right? This is going to be a very good card. I'm assuming in standard, in the angel build, and in limited. It's cheap, it's got evasion, and it only gets stronger. I love it. And that's going to be a stackable card as well because it's non-legendary within the Youthful Angel here. Very nice. Absorb Identity for 2 at instant speed. Return target creature to its owner's hand. You may have shapeshifters you control become copies of that creature until end of turn. Shapeshifters plural, which means if we have 4 shapeshifters in the field and we bounce, a Bone Crusher Giant, we've got 4 Bone Crusher Giants, right? And that's absolutely insane. That's so good. So I'm really excited to be making a Shapeshifter jank deck. As soon as I seen this, We have the rogue, which is a shapeshifter right now, which, basically enters as a copy of anything anyways. But now we have the power to make the rogue, I forget, it's the MDFC land rogue, become a copy of our opponent's creatures, something that we decide to bounce. If our creature gets targeted with removal, we can bounce it back to our own hand as well. So there's a lot of utility within Absorb Identity, and I think this is going to be just a delight to play with. Speaking of delights to play with, Giant's Grasp for 4, an enchantment aura, enchant giant you control. So you do have to be playing with giants. Whenever Giant's Grasp enters the battlefield, gain control of target non-land permanent for as long as the grasp remains on the battlefield. We can play with something like the, Transcendence Envoy, which will reduce the cost of our auras by 1. So, potentially, if we can stack that, playing this for 2. Could you imagine taking something of your opponent's for only 2 mana? Elderfang Ritualist, a cleric for 3 power, 1 toughness. When it dies, return another target elf card from your graveyard to your hand. Not great, but definitely not bad. Going to be good in Limited for sure. Any form of recursion in Limited is always fire. Renegade Reaper for 3, a 2/3 Angel Berserker with flying. So again, that Angel Tribal we've been seeing a lot, not just giants. It's a 2/3 with flying, which I think we mentioned, and when it enters the battlefield, mill 4 cards. If at least 1 angel card is milled this way, you gain 4 life. So we're looking for ways to gain life. This is one of them, and, that's that. And we could be creating a 4/4 angel because of it. The Thorn Mantle Striker at 5-drop, 4/3 elf rogue. So, more elves here, which is nice to see. When the striker enters the battlefield, choose one. Remove X counters from target permanent, where X is the number of elves you control. Okay, it's a 5-drop, so you should probably control about 1 billion elves. Or target creature an opponent controls gets -X until end of turn, where X is the number of elves you control. Great, absolutely. -X gets around indestructible, which is really cool. Bearded Axe for 3 in equipment. Equipped creature gets +1/+1 for each dwarf equipment and or vehicle you control. The equip cost is 2. Unfortunately, this won't be equipping when it enters the battlefield like we've seen a lot of equipment do recently. But, it's not bad, and that's probably going to shine through in many Limited matches. One of my favorites here today is Fire Giant's Fury. I don't know what we've been thinking in R&D. For 2 at sorcery speed, target giant you control gets +2/+2 and gains trample until end of turn. Whenever it deals combat damage to a player this turn, exile that many cards from the top of your library until the end of your next turn. You may play those cards. Bone Crusher Giants used to be in every deck. Now it's going to be in every deck +1. Tagged along with Fire Giant's Fury. What a great way to buff your giant up. Grab the trample, which he deserves, and also draw cards because of it. Absolutely amazing. Gilded Assault card. This goes perfectly with the dwarf that we opened up with. You can see the little mining cart and the shovel there. A 5/1 vehicle with trample. Crew for 2. Sacrifice 2 treasures, return the cart from your graveyard to your hand. So, we were making treasures with the dwarf that we looked at originally, which is really cool. This is going to give us something to utilize those upon. And again, going really wide with dwarfs, easily crewing one of them or 2 of them, probably one of them because of the Anthem effect, right? From the dwarf that we looked at earlier. So, the Gilded Assault cart is, a dwarf's best friend. The Elven Ambush for 4, instant speed. Create a 1/1 green elf warrior creature token for each elf you control. Right? That is very good. Instant speed. I can't even handle it. You're going to be making so many 1/1 elves, and they're not even going to be 1/1 elves because of all the Anthem effects that elves have. They're going to be 2/2 elves, 3/3 elves, 4/4 elves. Absolutely insane. Moving on, the Glade Walker Ritualist. This is a 3-drop shapeshifter creature, Changeling, which we seen earlier with that blue spell we talked about. I forget the name of it already. Absorb Identity. I'm gonna have to learn all these things. And again, a 3/3 for 3, so base stats, not that bad. Whenever another creature named the Ritualist enters the battlefield under your control, draw a card. So that's great. Plus, we can be changing these shapeshifters or changelings into our opponent's creatures with a single bounce. So could you imagine your opponent playing their Beanstalk Giant, right? It's an 11/11. We bounce it to their hand, and we get 4 Beanstalk Giants. Woo! Pardon me. That gets me excited. Rampage of the Valkyries to close us up for the December 16th reveals. We do have some 15ths to go through as well. An enchantment for 5 within Orzhov colors. Some of the sickest art as far as I'm concerned. Those angels. Oh, straight from the club. When Rampage of the Valkyries enters the battlefield, create a 4/4 white angel token with flying and vigilance. Whenever an angel you control dies, other player sacrifices a creature. Angel Tribal in the house. I'm absolutely going to love it. Moving on to December 15th, and I talked about some metal releases for you guys. 3 different metal bands, each got a preview of a card for you guys, which is really cool. I definitely recommend watching those videos, especially if you like metal. I enjoyed every second of it. First up, we have Pyre of Heroes, a 2-drop artifact, which is basically a colorless Neoform. We can pay to tap it, sacrifice a creature, search your library for a creature card that shares a creature type with the sacrificed creature and has converted mana cost of equal to 1 plus the creature's card that we sacrificed. Put that card into the battlefield, then shuffle your library. Activate this only anytime you can cast a sorcery. You know, I absolutely love the idea of, you know, playing a simulacrum, grabbing the additional land, and then sacking it, grabbing the draw, and grabbing a 5-drop creature as well. So things are going to be really cool with the Pyre of Heroes. Even cooler, though, Showdown of the Scalds for 4, an enchantment saga within Boros colors. When it enters the battlefield, exiling the top 4 cards of our library until the end of our next turn, we may play those cards. That's really good. So, you know, you're probably going to get a land in that, but hopefully you get 3 non-lands as well, which is going to be really cool. And then on the following 2 upkeeps, whenever you cast a spell this turn, put a +1/+1 counter on target creature you control. So, you know, this is the little bit of extension that some of the aggro decks need, I feel like. If they can spam out on turn 3, get everything they need, play this, draw Embercleave, next turn, yeah! Right? And then, you know, not even just in Boros. Like, I could see a white deck splashing red just to use this. I could see a red deck splashing white just to use this. And it fits perfectly with the Boros Dwarf archetype, which we've been seeing. We also have all of the remaining pathways released. Bark Channel for green, tied with Tide Channel for blue. So that's the Simic. We also have the Rakdos within Blight and Seer Step. And we have the Golgari in Darkborn and Slitherborn, not to mention the Azorius within the Hengegate and Mistgate. So, you know, more pathways as well. And of course, we long ago seen some very blurry copies of the Commanders, which, you know, I'm sure you can find better versions of these, or just wait. And if you thought that was great, you know, it only gets better from here. I've not seen these yet. This art blows my mind. Like, this is a true birthday present for me. And again, thank you to MTG Jeff, not only for the sick Goblin deck, which just got so much worse, but also hanging out on stream live on Twitch with us, giving me some gifted subs, making me laugh throughout this video. Look at this art, you guys. This is sick. Can I get copies of these and hang them up all over? I can't even. Stop it. Oh, man. They're so good. So I imagine these are maybe going to be sleeves. I don't know. I'm going to get every single one of them, though. We'll see. That's within the secret layer. I don't know. Not that informed, I guess, right? So, you know, that's all of our shenanigans. But I want to show you guys these videos as well. So we've got 3 metal bands that got 3 exclusive card previews for you guys, which we already showed you. But watch these videos. Definitely worth your time. I really recommend it. Angra, a metal band, Torche, a metal band, and Mastodon. Sorry if I butchered this Torche. I have no idea. And again, I've been rocking metal, growing the beard. I think we're going to get some Viking cosplay stuff going on for you guys for the pre-release and all that. So, you know, we're going to have fun with it. And of course, thank you for watching. Thanks for your time and attention. As always, don't forget to like, comment, subscribe, share the channel to a friend. And if you want even more content, consider becoming a YouTube channel member for exclusive shenanigans. And again, we'll see you in the next video. Peace!